learnt my ancient Greek and my Latin and my ancient history at a comprehensive in Liverpool in the 1960s and 70s. And I was blessed. I realised it was a very narrow window because soon after I left that school stopped teaching classics. And across Liverpool, classics was pretty much driven off into the private sector. I remember once I was having a shave in 1998 when Charles Clark, Education Secretary, God knows why, but he was the Education Secretary, and he announced on the radio that, well, why are we still funding? We're not going to fund ancient Greek and Latin in state schools because they're elitist subjects. So I threw the radio against the wall, and because elitist subjects are not elitist, they are if you take them out of the state sector. And they're great engines for not just for learning and for finding out about how human beings tick, but also they're fantastic routes for social mobility and to get yourself into great places in further education. So without further ado, I'm going to let these people talk about the work we do up in Liverpool, and we're trying to get across the country in the next stage of our development. Let me just introduce Hilary Hodgson, who's our Chief Executive, and Tristan May, who's actually one of our customers. And what better witnessing than someone's actually benefited or actually, well, maybe you'll have a few complaints about us, who knows. And Alice Case, who is the brilliant, redoubtable network coordinator up in the north there.
Yeah, so hi everybody. Just to say that we don't just do Greek, because classics is a bit of a cornucopia, and classics is for all and everything is in classics. And classics is for everybody, whether you're interested in Greek myth as a starting point or Latin or Greek. And a few years ago, I think people would have said to me, Hilary, you must be mad, getting Greek back into state schools, the most difficult of the lot, you know, a different alphabet, a different language. But oddly, after 12 years, we're surviving. And we do that through working with networks across the country. Alice is probably the most redoubtable of our network coordinators, but we have 14 of them. They're very part-time. It's run on a shoestring. In partnership with universities to build on the widening participation agenda. And we're beginning to get lots of young people like Tristan into university as well. And it's beginning to follow through, so it is possible. But I want to start with Greek. This is probably the most esoteric of the things we do, but we are getting there. So 70 schools we've worked with over the last few years, right from primaries at a very basic level with children of all abilities learning the Greek alphabet, right up to the level that the glorious heights that Tristan is now scaling. So I'd like to start by asking Alice, who's our network coordinator, who does a lot more, has introduced classics to hundreds of schools up there. What is this Liverpool Greek Academy? Just describe to the audience what the concept is.
Okay, well, it's quite straightforward. It's a Greek school that meets on a Saturday morning and a Saturday afternoon if you carry on to A-level. And it's open to anybody who can physically get there from year 9 and above. So we teach in mixed ages. Currently in our beginners group, we have students who are in year 9 and we have a student who's on their gap year. And they're all learning together. They all start from scratch, and it's a great leveller. And they come from state schools across Merseyside, really. We've got some that come in from Chester, and they come for 3.5 hours every Saturday morning in term time.
That sounds like an endurance test to me, Alice. So, I mean, when you first came up with this crazy idea, because I remember talking to you about 3 or 4 years ago, and you said to me, I don't know whether we're going to get enough kids to come. How on earth did you manage to get the word out and I'll talk to Tristan in a minute, but how did you get the word out?
Well, we literally connect with schools and we ask them to share it with their parents, with their students, whether that's modern language teachers or history teachers or a kindly head. And yeah, they just trickle in one by one. And they are sometimes one student from one school. Sometimes we'll get a gaggle, we might get 5 from one school who want to come and do it together. But it is school by school, person by person.
But why do you have to do it in the first place? I mean, why can't a school, I mean, this is the political point we need to get across here, Alice. Why is it that we have to have a Saturday morning school? What's the context?
Because in a fairly niche subject like classics, Greek is the nichest of the niche, although I'm feeling quite mainstream after what we just witnessed. But the numbers are tiny. I mean, there's something like 1,130 students across the UK who take a Greek GCSE every year. And of that, it's about 130 in the state sector.
And what impact, because this is something you always get asked. I used to work in trusts and foundations, and crikey, you know, we try and track these figures. Have we had any impact on the teaching of Greek
We
in the
have.
UK?
The advantage of having very small numbers is you could make a very big impact with like less than 6 people. So, for instance, I did write a few down. We account for a third to a half of all state school Greek GCSE in the north of England. So that's
pretty good.
Tiny numbers, but
Yeah.
by producing 12 to 15 GCSE candidates every year, we're pretty much doubling what's going on at GCSE. And at A-level, it's even more
So what Alice
impressive.
isn't telling you here is that actually the GCSE was so successful that she came back last year and said to me, Hill, will you fund an A-level course? Because some of the kids are so
Well, it was
young
actually
people, sorry.
Tristan's year group who actually came to us and said, we don't want to stop at GCSE. Is there any chance that you could run an A-level?
Yeah. I can boom if you like. Sorry, I'm sorry, I don't know what the acoustics are like because I haven't been to the back. I'll shout.
So moving on from GCSE, originally the concept was that we would do a 2-year fast-track GCSE, 3 hours a week, and the students would work hard to get there. But there was a student's interest this year that actually came to us and said, we don't want to stop at GCSE. Can we carry on to A-level? And I was like, oh my goodness, I have no idea. Are there enough of you? And there were. And so now every other year we do an AS level, which gives students the chance to do 1 year and take a qualification and walk away. And for a very few, they managed to stick out for 4 whole years and get an A-level. But a couple of years ago, there was nobody in the north of England doing Greek A-level in the state sector. And I think we had 4 last year.
Tristan,
So,
why did you go? Where did you hear about it in the first place? And were you at a school where there was a possibility of doing any classics at all?
Definitely not. I went to Carindus there. It was a pretty good state school, but we didn't have classics civ. We didn't really have anything like Latin or Greek that was offered there. And I can't remember. I believe it was some kind of flyer that I found or was given by in like a school report or something, but I just wanted to go because I knew it was something that I would never have the chance to do. It was never going to be offered at my school. I don't think it ever will.
Did you have an interest in languages or anything affiliated, or were you reading Greek myth? Why was the idea of Greek so enticing?
Because I was just incredibly interested in the classics, and that's the whole thing of classic civ not being offered. Why it was kind of that this was the best option for me, because there was no other way that I could see myself having some kind of actual academic application in the classical world. And I don't know, because it didn't really occur to me that I'd actually be able to kind of read these things like the Iliad and the Odyssey, like even from just the first year in the actual text, and then being able to do that just within the first year of studying Greek was really impressive.
What being able to speak the language and read some of the text in the original, what does it add to your understanding, or what did you learn through that?
I mean, so much. I mean, parts of the Iliad before, you're kind of reading through them, you think, this is the most boring thing I've ever read in my life. And then you suddenly read the metaphors in Greek, and you kind of understand, and you kind of get to certain bits in our set text that were like Achilles when he's kind of tearing out his hair and he's pouring ash on himself. And it's just so much more visceral in the actual Greek, and that kind of understanding is just lost by so many translations that are good, but they don't stand up to the original.
So were you in the group? You were in the group that carried on and did the AS level?
Yeah.
And so what do you think you owe to Alice and the Greek school? I mean, in terms of an inspiration for what you're doing now. Tell people what you're doing now and how this has influenced your trajectory.
Probably so much. I'm doing classics at Cambridge, so and really this is a massive help in my application and even like studying there, because my year group just like changed the course. So we brought Greek in and Lent term, when usually it's like another year away. And having that kind of like basis was just so instrumental in like my learning this year. And because like, a lot of people did fall behind and stuff because I was in the prelim course because I didn't have an A-level in Latin. And so many of the people, you know, there was not many of us. I think I was one of maybe 2 who actually had Greek knowledge from either a GCSE or an AS.
Yeah. So it makes a huge difference. I am not going to do more than that because I think we need to move on. But we will be moving upstairs, and there are plenty of teachers as well, other people who've benefited from CFA's largesse in the audience, schools and teachers from Bishop Thomas Grant and other places. So I do hope you'll talk to them. But as you can see, we really do have an impact. And thank you so much to Tristan and to Alice for coming down from